Legends told around campfires are not uncommon in the wastes. Tales of daring do, mystery, and the supernatural are passed from weary traveler to excitable traders, and such of the like. All legends have an element of truth to them. These are the tales of forgotten conquest. Audio log Z7642. This will be my final transmission. As you know, this government is no more. To all of those out there who still listen, remain vigilant. Help will arrive when it is available, although we may never know when that is. No matter the hardships, push on. That's all we can do at this hour. Remain safe and alert.
In 2072, the United Kingdom was in its worst state financially and politically since the Second World War. The oil wells discovered in the Irish Sea had all but been used, and civil unrest ran rampant throughout the streets of the once great nation. People were looking for someone to blame, and someone that could offer them hope. In July, those dreary prayers were answered. A rogue party entered the government and promised the people all that they asked for. This party was known as the King's Purveyors. Hence the name. They were fiercely patriotic, believing that anyone who did not stand behind their king and country were traitors and should be made examples of. The people of the nation were enamored with the golden-clad promises of the up-and-coming party. In the 2073 general election, they won a 56-seat majority over the ruling party. Without a question, the King's Purveyors were the new leaders of the country. Unbeknownst to the public, it was till the bitter end.
By the end of 2073, the party had dramatically reformed the country from a once free and peaceful nation into a totalitarian war economy. Housing had been nationalized, meaning that people were forced out of their homes and provided housing, usually a downgrade from where they once lived. Mansions and state homes were seized and handed to corrupt party officials, where they lived a life of luxury. Food was nationalized and people were provided with a set amount every week. Conscription to the armed forces was not only encouraged, it was complementary. Men and women were given 3 years of national service if between the ages of 16 and 20, and formally, allied nations were turned into enemies of the state. Yet throughout all of this unrest, the party remained popular. They provided something that people had been begging for since the beginning of the century: security. The United States watched this happen from across the ocean with a sense of worry. Their oldest ally had been turned against them. That sense of worry was converted into outright rage when British expeditionary forces landed on European soil. It was no longer a nation, it was an empire. The party officially renamed the nation as the New British Empire on January 1st, 2074. This showed the people that the party was dedicated to their cause. On the 2nd of February, British expeditionary forces pushed all the way through the rubble of France to the capital of Paris, destroyed by the Resouce Wars, where the country was officially signed as part of the new British Empire. Instead of revolution, the people of the newly acquired country celebrated. This worried the US. If Europe was to fall to the hands of an imperialist force, could the new British Empire become as big an issue as the vast Chinese army? Severely fearful, the US began performing reconnaissance flights over the Empire's land in late February. By March 2074, the threat of atomic war was imminent. The party began to work on functional shelters in order to protect their people from the aftermath of nuclear fallout, a far cry from the crimes committed by the US's Vault Tech. Citizens of the ever-growing empire flocked to join the admission lists of these nuclear safe havens. Unbeknownst to said people, a 19-story bunker was created underneath Buckingham Palace, where party officials could continue to live a life of complete luxury even after total atomic annihilation. These shelters were also created across the expanding puppet states of the empire in order to preserve control. On Christmas Eve 2074, tensions between the empire and the US reached an all-time high. An American Stingray spycraft was discovered crashed in the Snowdonia Hills. The pilot was recovered alive, interrogated, and promptly executed. Upon hearing this, the US president was flung into a fit of rage. The US government lay out a set of demands: that the body of the pilot be returned to the US and the Empire remove forces from Europe. If these demands were not met, the US threatened heavy economic sanctions. In response, the Empire simply dropped the body into a ditch, mailing a video of such straight to the president. Without choice, the US placed economic sanctions with immediate effect. However, the US was in for a shock. In the party's yearly economic report released in March 2075, it was discovered that the Empire had actually performed better financially after the sanctions had been placed. The US was running out of options. By now, the Empire had reached as far as Poland, and many nation-states were falling into its promising hands. In the hour of 7:30, in the morning of June 16, 2075, alarm bells rang all across the Empire. Citizens were rushed to their shelters, party members were evacuated, and the military was placed into hibernation. At exactly 8 o'clock, atomic hellfire reigned all over Europe, the Americans' final ace up their sleeve. The final public party transmission was broadcast to the shelters at 12 o'clock. Good night, old Blighty. Rest well.